At exactly 7 a.m., a decision was taken away from me, not by discipline, not by motivation, but by artificial intelligence, and that small moment marked the beginning of one of the strangest and most revealing days I've ever experienced. Because from that second forward, I no longer chose what to do, what to eat, what to focus on, or how to spend my time. Everything was dictated by a system designed for logic instead of emotion, structure instead of chaos, and execution instead of hesitation. And while that might sound restrictive, it immediately exposed something deeper about how most days normally unfold, full of tiny choices that quietly consume mental energy long before anything meaningful even begins. From deciding whether to wake up now or later, to choosing what to eat, what to check first, what task deserves attention, whether to start working or scroll a little longer. And these small moments seem harmless on their own, but together they create a constant drain that destroys clarity and kills momentum before it has a chance to exist, which is why so many people feel busy yet unchanged, tired yet unfulfilled, active yet stagnant, and that realization became painfully clear within the first hour of surrendering control. Because instead of negotiating with myself about whether I should get up, AI simply removed the option of delay, instructing hydration before caffeine, movement before comfort, and a short activation workout designed to create energy rather than drain it, followed by a cold shower I would never voluntarily choose. And something unexpected happened almost immediately. Not motivation, but silence. Because when internal debate disappears, resistance disappears with it, and action becomes easier than avoidance. Then came breakfast, optimized for sustained focus rather than taste, followed by 20 minutes of complete silence without notifications, messages, or background noise, something that felt uncomfortable at first, but quickly revealed how noisy normal life actually is. And then the real challenge arrived, a mission that sounded simple but felt intimidating. Generate 50 pounds within a single day using only free tools. No audience, no advertising budget, no shortcuts, just execution. And instead of overwhelming me with complexity, the process was broken into 3 clear steps. Find a problem people urgently want solved. Create a fast solution using AI and offer it where demand already exists. Within minutes, the direction became obvious. People constantly struggle to present themselves effectively when applying for jobs, promotions, or freelance work. Not because they lack skills, but because they fail to communicate their value clearly. So the idea became an AI-powered profile upgrade service focused on improving CVs, bios, and professional summaries to highlight impact instead of responsibilities, using free tools to analyze wording, strengthen achievements, and restructure content into something sharper and more persuasive. The setup required less than an hour, creating before and after examples, and a short offer message centered entirely on value, not hype. Then came distribution, placing the offer in communities where people already seek career advice or opportunities. Not as spam, but as limited free feedback designed to demonstrate results, and within a surprisingly short time, the first response arrived. Someone unsure whether their CV was strong enough for a role they truly wanted. AI reviewed it, suggested clearer achievements and stronger phrasing, transforming it into something that felt more confident and professional. And when the improved version was returned, the reaction was immediate. Not just gratitude, but curiosity about a full rewrite, which quickly became the first paid request of the day. Modest, but real. And more importantly, proof that value had been created quickly. And as the day progressed, more responses appeared, some cautious, some excited, and a few ready to proceed immediately, turning a simple experiment into actual income in less time than most people spend scrolling social media. But the biggest surprise wasn't the money, it was how effortless the process felt compared to a normal workday. There was no procrastination, no second guessing, no wandering between tasks, because every step had already been decided, freeing mental energy usually wasted on trivial choices. And that revealed something deeper. Productivity isn't always about doing more. Sometimes it's about deciding less, so momentum can build naturally, because every unnecessary decision introduces friction, and friction kills progress faster than lack of talent ever could. AI didn't magically create success. It removed noise and enforced clarity, allowing execution to replace hesitation. And by the afternoon, something unusual happened. The sense of urgency that normally accompanies work was gone, replaced by steady forward motion. Because there was no internal debate draining attention, just action following structure. and even breaks were intentional rather than accidental, preventing the endless loop of distraction that normally steals hours without notice. And this shift highlighted how much exhaustion comes not from effort but from constant mental switching. And as evening approached, the experiment continued revealing patterns. Tasks were completed faster, communication felt clearer, and the absence of hesitation created a surprising calm because clarity reduces stress more effectively than motivation ever can. And by the time the day ended, one realization became impossible to ignore. The real barrier to progress isn't always lack of opportunity or intelligence. It's fragmentation of attention caused by endless micro-decisions that consume time without producing results. And in a world where AI can now simplify structure and guide execution, the advantage shifts from knowing more to acting faster, because while many people are still debating whether these tools matter, others are already using them to streamline routines, create small income streams, and reclaim focus. And this single day demonstrated something powerful. Meaningful progress doesn't require revolutionary ideas. Sometimes it begins by removing the chaos hidden inside everyday choices. Because when direction becomes clear and action becomes simple, even small steps can compound into real outcomes. And perhaps the most important lesson wasn't that AI can run a schedule, but that it can reveal how much potential is wasted in hesitation, overthinking, and scattered focus. Because progress rarely demands perfection, it demands movement. And movement becomes easier when noise fades and priorities sharpen. And if one structured day can generate income, clarity, and calm efficiency, imagine what sustained intentional action could do over weeks or months. Because the future may not belong to those who work hardest, but to those who remove friction fastest, turning time from something that slips away into something that builds momentum. And maybe the real opportunity isn't in the technology itself, but in how it is used, not as a replacement for effort, but as a guide for direction. Because success isn't about having more time, it's about using the time you already have without drowning in decisions. And sometimes the smartest move isn't thinking harder. It's choosing less and executing more. Because while the world debates the future of artificial intelligence, the real shift may already be happening quietly in the lives of those willing to trade chaos for clarity and hesitation for action. And that shift might be the difference between staying stuck and finally moving forward. Because once decisions stop controlling you, momentum finally has room to grow. And when momentum grows, results follow. And when results follow, confidence builds, creating a cycle where progress feeds itself rather than constantly needing motivation to restart. And that cycle may be the true hidden advantage in a world where attention is the scarcest resource. Because clarity creates speed, and speed creates opportunity, and opportunity compounds when action replaces doubt, turning ordinary days into stepping stones instead of holding patterns. And the transformation begins, not with dramatic change, but with removing the noise that hides inside everyday choices.